Today I'm going to be reading from KEDESHA, which is based on a true story and written by Pele Ezrahi. Chapter 1. Egla lay on her back, silent, her legs spread open. Her husband, Yehoash's pelvis pounded against her. Egla was a daughter of a distinguished family of priests. Yehoash, whose eyes were aflame and who undulated on her in a frenzy, was a deputy priest to her father, Hilkiyahu, high priest of Yahweh's temple in Jerusalem. Egla would be happy if Yehoash acted with priestly dignity while he rubbed his intensity inside her, but that was not the case. In his official role, Yehoash walked around the temple courtyards with an air of glory and sanctity leashed to him. Here in bed, she knew she must accept Yehoash the man, a male like all males, flesh and blood, and who would very soon, as always, shoot himself into her and defile both of them until the next sunset. Why did he choose to enter her so frequently, even at the cost of forfeiting a day of entering the temple? She always wondered that, and she despised him for it. Egla was convinced that her father, Hilkiyahu, the high priest, never behaved this way, even during the days when he was a young priest. Legends of her father told that during his youth he slept on the steps leading up to the temple. Even during the cold winter nights of Jerusalem, he was the first one to awake, to receive the privilege of performing the sacred task of preparing the fire on the altar for the daily sacrifice. She looked at her husband, Yehoash, who, disgust entangled with compassion, almost telling him to finish already, to finish thrashing into her, just to provide her with strong sperm. Perhaps God would also have compassion for her, and she would conceive tonight. Perhaps God would be kind to her, and her husband's filthy seed would miraculously transform into a holy priest in her womb, an heir for the pure priestly families of Jerusalem. At least this would be her consolation. Yehoash saw the disgust in her eyes, and he too condemned himself. He wanted to be holy and above the body, as was her father, Hilkiyahu, who, for some unclear reason, was appointed to the position of high priest. But an unquenchable fire of lust burned in his heart. He loathed the way Egla lay there, impatiently waiting for him to finish. He wanted too to see her enjoying, also moaning with the same fire of lust that was in him. He desired to hear her moaning, like the farmer women in the barn. Sometimes he fantasized that she was a whore in the marketplace, but at the same time he knew that a great privilege had fallen into his lap when he was chosen to marry the daughter of the high priest. Thus he never mentioned a word of these thoughts to her. In his heart he respected her and hated her just the same. He admired her innocence and loathed himself for the filth that filled his mind. He looked at her lying beneath him with her eyes closed, an aura of purity encircling her. And through her eyes he saw himself as a disgusting commoner trapped in the thicket of lust, like those idolatrous priests who, like dogs, licked the genitals of the priestly whores of the Asherah. How much he despised them, but how much he sometimes wished to be one of them. His flesh electrified, his body stiffened, and his hot semen shot into her like an arrow from a warrior's bow. Then he softened into deep relaxation, and all he wanted now was for her to hold him, to absorb him in an embrace, but he knew well what to expect. An expression of contempt spread over her face as she gently pushed him away, as one who had just finished fulfilling her obligations. She cleaned herself with a wet towel prepared in advance and remained on her back, motionless, his sperm winding deep inside her. She prayed that through this act she would conceive and give birth to a boy, another priest for Yahweh.